Hello, my name is Anonymous. Today, we're going to look at the rise of one of the greatest empires the world has ever known. But before we begin, a quick reminder. If you enjoy learning about ancient history, stay tuned for more fun content. And now, let's get started. The earliest inhabitants of Persia were nomadic tribes who herded their animals across the expansive plains of what is now Iran. Yet around 2700 BCE, a remarkable shift occurred. In the lowlands of Khuzestan, near the head of the Persian Gulf, a civilization known as Elam began to take shape. The Elamites established a society marked by towering mud brick citadels like the one at Susa, which ultimately grew to be among the most important cities in ancient Iran. As urban centers blossomed, so did distinct Elamite cities, such as Chokhazan, each boasting their own rulers who paid tribute to a paramount ruler known as the King of Kings. This system of governance marked the beginning of a long-standing tradition of decentralized power that would continue to define Persia throughout its ancient history. By the 24th century BCE, the Elamites had mastered the art of hydraulic engineering, constructing ingenious networks of canals to harness the floodwaters of the mighty Tigris and Euphrates rivers for irrigation. This innovation allowed them to cultivate crops and raise livestock, laying the foundation for their rich material culture. The Elamites became renowned for their bronze work, creating exquisite vessels adorned with intricate designs. Theirs was a culture deeply rooted in tradition, preserving the Elamite language over the course of 2 millennia, though much of it remains undeciphered, leaving us to piece together their stories through archaeology. While some aspects of their culture were influenced by their Mesopotamian neighbors, the Elamites also contributed their own artistic motifs, architectural styles, and religious beliefs, showcasing a vibrant culture that thrived for over 2,000 years until its eventual absorption into the broader Persian identity. As Elam flourished, a separate branch of Iranian people known as the Medes settled in the mountainous north. Initially existing as a loose collection of tribes, they gradually came under the rule of powerful chieftains, or spas in their own language. By the 9th century BCE, the Medes had developed into a formidable force, renowned for their cavalry and skill in archery, often employed as mercenaries by neighboring empires. Among them, one chieftain named Diox emerged to unite the Medes. Ruling from his capital in the city of Media, he introduced significant administrative reforms and military strategies that would shape the Medes into a formidable force in the region. Under his guidance, Media successfully defended itself against attacks from the Assyrians, Babylonians, and Scythians, establishing itself as a major player on the geopolitical stage. After Diogenes came his son, Cyaxares, who forged a strategic alliance with the neighboring kingdom of Lydia in Anatolia. Together, they confronted the mighty Assyrian Empire, which, despite its reputation for brutality and expansionism, had reached its peak during the reigns of kings like Asurnasirpal II and Tiglath-Pileser III. However, by the mid-7th century BC, internal rebellions and external pressures from the growing power of the Neo-Babylonian Empire, led by the infamous king Nebuchadnezzar II, resulted in the fall of the Assyrian heartland. This pivotal moment marked the end of the Assyrian era and paved the way for new players to dominate the region. Cyaxares and his Lydian ally successfully campaigned to secure Media's northern borders and control over important trade routes. This victory not only demonstrated the strength of the Median forces, but also established Media as a dominant force in Western Asia. Despite facing challenges from nomadic tribes in the east, Cyaxares' efforts to expand his territory were successful. He brought large parts of northern Mesopotamia under Median rule, bringing the once mighty Assyrians under his control and incorporating them into his empire. The union of these two formerly antagonistic civilizations was a testament to Cyaxares' diplomatic skills and the evolving dynamics of power in the ancient world. Cyaxares' reign marked a significant turning point in the history of Media and the wider region. His victories against the Assyrians and the establishment of a more extensive empire positioned Media as a major player on the geopolitical stage. However, his death in 550 BCE led to a succession crisis, setting the stage for the rise of a new power, the Achaemenid Empire. In the vast realm of ancient Persia, the term Achaemenid refers to a dynasty of kings, but it also encapsulates the essence of an entire empire, the first to bear the distinct Persian identity. Cyrus II, the founder of this dynasty, originated from the Achaemenid clan, a group of nobles descended from a legendary ancestor named By the 6th century BCE, Cyrus found himself ruling over the lands of Anj, which lay between the central plateau of modern Iran and the Persian Gulf. It was here that he initiated the transformation from a local chieftain to the architect of an empire. Cyrus's initial ambition was to unify the various Persian tribes under his banner. These tribes, many of whom were initially independent and autonomous, had been loosely associated with the larger concept of Persia. However, Cyrus's vision went beyond mere tribal unity. He sought to create a centralized state that would not only encompass Persia proper, but also extend its influence over neighboring regions. One of his first significant steps was conquering the neighboring kingdom of untold. Once this strategic region was under his control, Cyrus set his sights on the Median Empire. Through diplomacy and warfare, he forged alliances with Median nobles, eventually deposing the last Median king. As this union solidified the merger of Median and Persian elements, giving rise to a new and powerful Iranian entity. The newly formed empire stretched from the Caucasus Mountains in the north to the Zagros Mountains in the south, encompassing territories that would come to be known as Fars, Pars, Media, and the Elysian Plain. Although often overshadowed by the grandeur of empires like Rome or China, the Achaemenid Empire holds a unique place in history for being the first to span the vast expanse of Iran. Moreover, it remains the largest empire ever to originate within Iran's borders. During Cyrus's reign, the empire enjoyed unprecedented growth and prosperity. Its economic strength stemmed from a flourishing trade network that connected the West with India. The empire's military prowess was equally impressive, boasting a well-organized and disciplined army that played a crucial role in securing its vast borders. Key to this success was the introduction of the composite bow and arrow, which enabled soldiers to shoot accurately while riding horses at speed. Cyrus's military campaigns extended far beyond the borders of his predecessors, reaching as far as the Balkans, in the west, and the Indus Valley, in the east. He conquered Lydia, Media, Babylonia, and the kingdom of Elam, assimilating diverse cultures into his growing empire. His conquests were not solely motivated by territorial expansion, but also by a genuine desire to learn about other cultures. For instance, after conquering Babylon in 539 BC, he allowed the exiled Jewish people to return to Jerusalem and rebuild their temple, demonstrating his commitment to religious tolerance. Cyrus's grandson, Darius I, inherited an empire on the brink of disintegration. Despite its size and wealth, the Achaemenid Empire faced constant threats from discontented satraps, ambitious princes, and external invaders. Upon assuming the throne, Darius embarked on a mission to stabilize and strengthen his empire. First, he launched a campaign to quell rebellions in Babylon, Elam, and parts of Anatolia, reaffirming his authority over the vast domain left by his grandfather. Recognizing the administrative challenges of governing such a vast empire, Darius implemented several key reforms. He divided the empire into 20 provinces, each under the management of a term derived from the Old Persian word satrapati, meaning protector of the realm. The satraps were appointed by the king, but they held significant autonomy, collecting taxes, maintaining order, and managing local affairs. To ensure effective governance, Darius established a complex system of roads that facilitated communication and troop movement throughout the empire. Additionally, he standardized weights and measures, introduced a new currency, and reformed the imperial post. The Achaemenid postal system was truly remarkable, ensuring the swift and reliable delivery of messages and goods across the empire. Royal couriers traveled on foot, horseback, or by chariot, covering an average of 18 miles per day. They carried sealed documents in special bags, and upon arrival, the recipient would open the bag, read the contents, and immediately seal it again, ensuring confidentiality. The contents of the letter remained private unless the recipient chose to share them. The Achaemenid Empire left an enduring legacy on the ancient world, exemplified by the grandeur of Persepolis, a ceremonial capital that showcased the empire's wealth and cultural fusion. Persepolis, with its monumental gates, intricate reliefs, and grand audiences hall, stood as a symbol of the empire's power. The imperial treasury amassed incredible wealth, amassing an estimated 250 tons of gold and hundreds of thousands of talents of silver. This financial abundance allowed the emperors to engage in lavish construction projects and bestow gifts of unprecedented scale. The longevity of the Achaemenid Empire, lasting over 2 centuries, can be attributed to several factors. Cyrus's emphasis on religious tolerance fostered contentment among diverse populations. The empire's commitment to infrastructure development, particularly its road network, facilitated efficient communication and troop movement. The implementation of a standardized coinage ensured economic stability. Furthermore, the introduction of the royal road improved trade, making luxury goods accessible to wider segments of the population. Lastly, the empire's military preparedness, bolstered by the use of chariots, cavalry, and infantry, effectively protected its vast borders. Unfortunately, our time is up for today. So to find out how Alexander the Great's invasion destroyed the Achaemenid Empire, and how the Parthian Empire, founded in 247 BCE, lasted for 500 years, make sure to stay tuned for our upcoming episodes. Thank you for joining us on this journey through time. If you've enjoyed this episode, don't forget to give us a thumbs up and subscribe for more. Your support means everything to us. Stay curious and keep exploring the past. Until next time, farewell.